Picture, for a moment, a world where everything you want already belongs to you. A world where the very act of wanting something pushes it further away, while the state of already possessing it inside your imagination pulls it closer into your physical experience. This isn't some whimsical notion. This is the actual law governing how our universe operates. Let's begin with a foundational understanding. Your consciousness is the only reality there is. Everything you perceive out in the world is simply a reflection of your inner states. When you say, "I want," or "I need," you're announcing to the universe that you don't have, and in doing so, you keep reinforcing that very state of lack. But the moment you shift your consciousness into a state of already having, when you no longer need the thing because in your imagination it's already yours, that's exactly when the outer world begins reorganizing itself to match your inner conviction. Consider for a moment the nature of God. Scripture tells us, "I am that I am." This isn't merely a name. It's a description of the creative power living inside every one of us. When you say "I am," you're invoking that same divine power, and whatever follows "I am" becomes the mold your life experiences get poured into. So when you stop needing something, when you've moved past wanting and into simply being, you're aligning yourself directly with this creative power. You're declaring to the universe, "I am that which I wish to become." And the universe, true to its nature, begins reflecting this new state right back at you. Let me share a principle that might sound counterintuitive at first, but that holds the actual key to unlocking this paradox. Act as though it were impossible to fail. When you truly embody this, you stop striving or struggling towards some achievement. You simply become the thing you desire to be. Picture a man who wants wealth. As long as he stays fixated on his current lack of money, as long as he keeps saying, "I need more money," or "I want to be rich," he's confirming his own poverty. But the second he starts feeling wealthy, walking, talking, and thinking the way a wealthy person would, even before a single dollar has shifted in his bank account, he sets in motion the very forces that will bring that financial abundance into being. This is the art of revision, of rewriting your own story. Time, dear friends, is really just a concept created by consciousness itself. Past, present, and future all exist simultaneously in the eternal now. When you revise your own self-concept, when you live from the end as though your desire were already fulfilled, you're rewriting past, present, and future all at once. But here's where the paradox goes deeper. As you start living inside this state of fulfillment, as you embody the consciousness of already having what you want, something remarkable happens. You start detaching from the outcome. The burning need, the desperate wanting, starts fading away. And it's precisely in that moment of detachment that your desire so often manifests in the physical world. Why does this happen? Because in releasing your attachment, in no longer needing the thing, you've aligned yourself with the natural flow of the universe. You've shifted from resistance, pushing against what is, into allowance. And in that state of allowance, miracles become almost commonplace. Think of it this way. Clench your fist tightly around something, and your muscles tense up, go rigid. But relax your grip, open your hand, and you create space for something new to arrive. That's the whole essence of letting go, of no longer needing. But let me be clear about something, friends. This isn't about turning indifferent or apathetic, quite the opposite. This is about cultivating a deep, unshakable faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. It's about knowing, in every fiber of your being, that what you want is already yours, in the realm of imagination, and therefore has to manifest in your physical reality. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It's your consciousness that animates it, that gives it meaning and shape. Change your consciousness, shift your inner state, and the outer world has no option but to fall in line with the new pattern. Let's take this further through the lens of love and relationships. So many people search for a loving partner while focused on their own loneliness, their own sense of lack. They say, I want to find my soulmate, or I need someone to complete me. But in saying it that way, they're confirming their own incompleteness, their own lack of love. Now imagine instead that you start embodying the state of already being in a loving relationship. You feel the warmth, the joy, the companionship, as though your ideal partner were already standing beside you. You live each day from that state of fulfillment. What happens then? Often, it's precisely when you stop desperately needing a relationship that the right partner shows up in your life. That's not coincidence, and it's not chance. That's the law of assumption at work. By assuming the feeling of the wish already fulfilled, by living in the end, you've changed your vibration, your energy, and the universe, in its own infinite wisdom, delivers to you whatever matches your new state of being. But the paradox runs even deeper. As you begin living from this state of fulfillment, as you embody the consciousness of already having a loving relationship, you might notice your need for an external partner starting to fade. You discover that the love you were chasing outside yourself was inside you the whole time. And in that discovery, you become genuinely whole, genuinely complete. And it's from that place of wholeness that you can then step into a relationship, not out of need or lack, but out of abundance and joy. And relationships born from wholeness rather than need tend to be the most fulfilling and lasting kind. The same principle applies across every area of life: health, career, personal growth. When you stop needing perfect health because you already feel vibrant and alive in your imagination, that's often when your body begins healing itself. When you stop desperately chasing success because you already feel successful in your mind's eye, that's when opportunities seem to appear as if by magic. But let me offer a word of caution, friends. This isn't wishful thinking or idle daydreaming. This is a disciplined use of your imagination, paired with a deep, unwavering faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. It demands persistence and patience, because while the seed of your desire gets planted instantly the moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it can take real time for that seed to grow and bear fruit in your physical world. During that stretch of gestation, you have to guard your mind carefully. Doubts and fears will try to sneak in and uproot the seed you've planted. This is where so many people falter, where they give up right before their desire is about to manifest. They say, "I've tried this and it doesn't work." But in saying that, they're once again confirming lack, once again pushing away the very thing they want. Instead, you have to persist in your assumption. You have to live each day as though your desire were already fulfilled, no matter what contrary evidence your senses seem to present. Because remember, your senses only ever show you a reflection of past states of consciousness. They can't show you what's coming, what's already set in motion by the shift you've made in your own consciousness. This persistence in assumption is what I call the art of patience. It isn't a passive waiting, it's an active state of being. It's living each day from the consciousness of already being or already having whatever you want, knowing with unshakable faith that it must manifest in your physical reality. And here's another layer of the paradox. As you persist in this state, as you keep living from the end, something remarkable happens. You start enjoying the journey itself. The present moment becomes infused with the joy and fulfillment of your imagined future. And in that enjoyment of the present moment, in that release from straining towards some future state, you open yourself up even more fully to receiving what you've imagined. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible, sold into slavery by his own brothers, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. He could have fixated on his current circumstances, on his desperate need to escape his situation. Instead, he lived from the state of being a ruler, wise, respected. And in time he rose to become second only to Pharaoh in all of Egypt. Joseph's story makes a crucial point. Your circumstances don't determine your state of consciousness. Rather, your state of consciousness determines your circumstances. No matter where you find yourself, no matter what you're facing, You always hold the power to choose your inner state, to live from the end. This is the true meaning of free will. It's not the ability to control external events. It's the power to choose your own inner state, regardless of outer circumstances. And in choosing that inner state, in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you set in motion the forces that will go on to reshape your outer world. Let's go even deeper into this paradox. As you master this art of living from the end, as you get skilled at assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you might notice your desires themselves starting to shift. What once felt crucial and all-consuming might fade in significance. New, higher aspirations might rise up to take their place. This, too, is part of the paradox of manifestation. Because as you keep aligning yourself more and more with your true self, with the divine creative power inside you, your desires naturally evolve. You start wanting things not just for yourself, but for the greater good. Your manifestations stop being merely personal achievements and start becoming gifts to the world. And here we arrive at the ultimate paradox. As you master the art of manifestation, as you learn to create your own reality through the power of your consciousness, you might find that your greatest desire becomes simply to be an instrument of the divine, to let the infinite creative power flow through you unimpeded, to manifest not for personal gain, but for the upliftment of everyone. In this state, you no longer manifest from a place of lack or need. You manifest from a place of abundance, of overflowing love and creativity. And it's in this state that the most miraculous manifestations tend to occur. Because when you align yourself fully with the divine creative power, when you become a clear channel for that power to flow into the world, you become capable of manifesting not just personal desires, but profound transformations that benefit all of humanity. This, dear friends, is the highest form of manifestation. It's no longer about getting, it's about giving. It's no longer about fulfilling personal wants. It's about allowing yourself to be used as an instrument of divine will. And, paradoxically, it's in this state of complete surrender, of no longer needing or wanting anything for yourself, that you often receive more abundance than you ever could have dreamed possible. But how does someone actually reach this exalted state? How do you move from manifesting personal desires into becoming a channel for divine manifestation? The path is the same one we've been discussing all along. It begins with assuming the state of the wish fulfilled, with living from the end. Only here, the end you're living from is the state of oneness with the divine creative power itself. Picture yourself as a clear channel, a perfect instrument the infinite creativity of the universe flows through. Feel the joy, the peace, the sense of purpose that comes with this state. Live each day from this consciousness, and watch your life transform in ways you never thought possible. This doesn't mean you should deny or suppress your own personal desires. Rather, it means expanding your consciousness to include ever greater, more inclusive desires. It means aligning your personal will with the divine will, recognizing that at the deepest level, the two were always one and the same. As you practice this, you might find the paradox of manifestation resolving itself entirely. Because when you're fully aligned with the divine creative power, when you're living as a clear channel for it, there's no separation left between wanting and having, between desiring and manifesting. In this state, creation becomes effortless, instantaneous. But let me offer one more word of caution. This state isn't reached through striving or effort. It isn't something you can force into being through sheer willpower. Instead, it's a state you allow yourself to fall into, like sinking into a warm bath. It comes through surrender, through letting go of every trace of resistance, doubt, and fear. This surrender, this letting go, brings us full circle back to where we started, because it's in the state of no longer needing, of no longer desperately wanting, that we open ourselves fully to receiving. It's when we loosen our grip on our own desires that we create room for them to manifest. So, dear friends, as you head out from here, I urge you to practice this art of living from the end. Pick a desire, something you'd like to manifest in your life. Then, instead of fixating on its absence, instead of dwelling on the wanting of it, immerse yourself fully in the feeling of already having it. Live each day from that state of fulfillment. But push even further than this. Expand your consciousness to hold ever greater desires. Let yourself become a channel for the divine creative power. Live from the state of oneness with this power, allowing it to move through you unimpeded. And as you do this, watch for the paradox to unfold in your own life. Notice how, as you release your attachment to outcomes, as you no longer desperately need your desires to show up, they often arrive with an ease and grace that seems nearly miraculous. Remember, the outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state. Change your inner state, and the outer world has no choice but to shift and match it. This is the law, immutable, eternal. But the deepest change, the most profound transformation, comes when you fully align yourself with the divine creative power already living inside you. In this alignment, in this surrender, you discover the ultimate truth, that you aren't some separate being straining to extract things from a reluctant universe. You aren't separate from the creative power of the universe at all. You're one with it. You aren't merely a creature living inside the universe. You're the universe expressing itself through human form. And in this realization, every paradox dissolves. Every limitation falls away. So go forward, friends, and live from this truth. Live each day as though every desire were already fulfilled, as though you were already one with the infinite creative power of the universe. Because in truth you are. And as you live from this truth, you'll manifest miracles, not just in your own life, but in the lives of everyone around you. This is your birthright, your true nature. Claim it, live it, be it. And watch as the paradox of manifestation unfolds in your own life, bringing you more abundance, more joy, more love than you ever imagined possible. Because when you no longer need it, when you stop clinging to it with desperate desire, that's when it manifests. This is the paradox, and this is the promise. Embrace it, embody it, and step into the limitless life waiting for you. Remember, dear friends, this journey of manifestation was never about accumulating things or racking up achievements. It's about becoming more of who you already truly are. It's about letting the divine essence inside you express itself more fully through your life. As you keep practicing living from the end, as you persist in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you'll notice your entire being starting to shift. Your thoughts, your emotions, your very vibration will align more and more with the reality you're trying to create. This alignment is the key to everything, because manifestation was never about forcing the universe to bend to your will. It's about aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation, about becoming a conscious co-creator alongside the universe. Think of it like tuning an old radio. Tune into a specific frequency, and you receive whatever's broadcasting on that frequency. In the same way, tune your consciousness to the frequency of your desired reality, and you begin receiving the experiences, opportunities, and circumstances matching that exact frequency. But here's yet another paradox. The more you practice this art of manifestation, the more you realize the real joy was never in the getting, it was in the being. The thrill isn't in acquiring the object of your desire. It's in experiencing yourself as the person for whom that desire is already fulfilled. This shift from getting to being is genuinely transformative. It frees you from the endless loop of wanting and acquiring, only to want something else. Instead, it lets you find fulfillment right in the present moment, in the very act of being the person you aspire to become. And here's where the paradox deepens further still. As you find fulfillment in being rather than getting, you'll often notice that the things you once desperately wanted start flowing into your life with ease. But by that point, you may find you no longer need them the way you used to. You appreciate them, you enjoy them, but your happiness, your sense of self-worth, no longer hinges on them. This state of non-attachment, of appreciating something without needing it, is the fertile soil where miracles grow. It's a state of being that lets the universe surprise and delight you with manifestations beyond your wildest imagination. But let me be clear, this state of non-attachment doesn't mean becoming passive or checked out. Quite the opposite. It lets you engage with life more fully, more passionately than ever before. Because when your happiness no longer depends on a specific outcome, you're free to throw yourself wholeheartedly into every endeavor. This is the state of inspired action. Action taken not from a place of lack or need, but from a place of joy, of creative self-expression. And it's this inspired action, paired with your aligned state of being, that so often leads to the most magnificent manifestations. Think about the great innovators and creators throughout history. They didn't create from a place of desperate need or want. They created from a place of inspired vision, seeing possibilities where others saw only limitations. They lived from the end, embodying the reality they wanted to create long before it ever showed up in the physical world. This brings us to another crucial piece of the paradox of manifestation, the role of faith. Faith in this context isn't blind belief or wishful thinking. It's a deep, unshakable knowing that what you've imagined has to come to pass. It's the ability to see the invisible, feel the intangible, believe the incredible. This kind of faith isn't always easy to hold on to, especially when your physical senses keep telling you nothing has changed yet. This is where persistence matters. Persistence in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Persistence in living from the end, even when all the evidence around you seems to contradict your inner knowing. Remember, friends, your senses only ever show you the world as it was, not as it's currently becoming. They show you the effects of past thoughts and beliefs, not the causes you're setting into motion with your current state of consciousness. That's why it's so crucial to anchor your faith not in what your eyes see, but in what your imagination shows you. Because your imagination is the gateway into the infinite possibilities living in the realm of pure potential. It's through your imagination that you connect directly with the creative power of the universe. But here's yet another paradox. While faith is essential, attachment to outcomes can actually block manifestation. This is where the art of surrendering comes in. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up on your desires. It means releasing your attachment to exactly how and when they'll show up. When you surrender in this way, you open yourself to possibilities far beyond what your limited human mind could ever have conceived. You let the infinite intelligence of the universe bring about your manifestation in ways that are often far more wonderful than anything you could have planned yourself. This surrender, this letting go, is what allows the paradox of manifestation to unfold in your own life. When you stop needing it, when you're no longer desperate for it, that's often when it shows up. Because in that state of surrender, of non-attachment, you're most closely aligned with the natural flow of creation. Think of it like planting a seed. You plant the seed, your desire, in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, through imagination and feeling. You water it with faith and persistence in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But then you have to let it grow in its own time. You don't dig up the seed every day to check whether it's growing. You trust the unseen processes, bringing your desire to fruition. This trust, this patience, is a vital piece of the whole manifestation process. It lets the universe do its work, bringing together everything necessary for your desire to manifest in the best possible way. But patience doesn't mean sitting around passively. It means holding on to your aligned state of consciousness, your feeling of the wish fulfilled, while you go about your daily life. It means acting from that state of fulfillment, rather than from a state of lack or need. As you keep doing this, you'll find your entire experience of life starting to change. You stop waiting for your desires to manifest before you can be happy. Instead, you find happiness right in the present moment, in the very act of being the person you're aspiring to become. And here's where the paradox goes even deeper. As you find that happiness in being, rather than getting, you'll often find the things you once desperately wanted start flowing into your life with ease. But by then, you may find you no longer need them the way you used to. You appreciate them, you enjoy them, but your happiness, your sense of worth, no longer depends on them. This state of non-attachment, of appreciating without needing, is the fertile ground where miracles grow. It's a state of being that lets the universe surprise and delight you with manifestations beyond your wildest dreams. But let me be clear once more. This state of non-attachment doesn't mean passivity or indifference. Quite the opposite. It lets you engage with life more fully, more passionately than ever before. Because when your happiness no longer hinges on a specific outcome, you're free to throw yourself wholeheartedly into whatever you're doing. This is the state of inspired action, action taken not from a place of lack or need, but from a place of joy, of creative self-expression. And it's this inspired action, coupled with your aligned state of being, that so often leads to the most magnificent manifestations. As we come near the end of our exploration of this profound paradox, I want to leave you with one final thought. The ultimate goal of manifestation was never about accumulating things or achieving status. It's about transforming yourself along the way. As you persist in living from the end, as you keep embodying the person who already has what you want, you undergo a real inner transformation. You start shedding limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns. You begin seeing yourself and the world around you in an entirely new light. You become more confident, more empowered, more aligned with your true self. And it's this inner transformation that often clears the path for the outer manifestation. Because as you change, your vibration changes. And as your vibration changes, you naturally attract experiences and circumstances that match your new elevated state of being. This is why the paradox of manifestation carries so much power. It was never just about getting what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and creates what they want. It's about aligning yourself with the abundance, love, and success that were always your birthright. As we near the very end of tonight's exploration, I want to leave you with one last thought. The ultimate goal of manifestation was never to accumulate things or achievements. It was to fully express your own divine nature, to become a clear channel through which the infinite creativity of the universe can flow. When you reach this state, you stop manifesting from a place of lack or need. You manifest from a place of abundance, of overflowing love and creativity. Your desires align with the highest good for everyone, and, paradoxically, it's in this state of complete surrender, where you no longer need or want anything for yourself, that you often experience the most magnificent manifestations of all. So, dear friends, as you go forward from here, remember the paradox we've explored tonight. Remember that when you no longer need it, when you fully embody the state of already having it, that's when it most often manifests. Live from the end. Persist in assuming your wish fulfilled. Have faith in the unseen processes bringing your desires to fruition. Surrender your attachment to outcomes. Allow yourself to be transformed along the way. And above everything else, never forget that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are one with it. You are it, expressing itself in human form. Embody this truth, live from this knowing, and watch as miracles unfold across your life. The paradox of manifestation isn't just a principle to understand intellectually. It's a truth to be lived, to be experienced in every moment of your existence. It's an invitation to step fully into your own power, to claim your divine inheritance as a creator of your own reality. So go forward, friends, and create. Create with joy, with love, with the full knowledge of your oneness with the infinite. Because in doing so, you don't just manifest your desires, you fulfill the actual purpose of your existence, to be a living expression of the divine creative power flowing through all things. Remember, the world is yourself pushed outward. Everything you see, everything you experience, is a reflection of your own consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change your world. This is the promise, and this is the challenge. of the paradox of manifestation. Embrace it fully, live it boldly, and watch your life transform in ways more beautiful and magnificent than you ever dared imagine. Because when you no longer need it, when you simply are it, that's when it manifests. This is the paradox, and this is the promise. Now go and live it.